So we've been spending so much time on this, as you are as well, in your writings and your dealings. They're now 3-8 in their last 11 after the 14-3 start. They've lost 4 straight. From a Padre fan perspective, or even from a Padres perspective, is this concerning, this 3-8 stretch, this 0-4 over their last 4 games, or just kind of part of it over 162?
Gosh, I almost think it's both. I do think it's concerning. 2-7. Once you've done it, you can do it again. This depth that you were high on, that certainly was doing, really kind of just enough sometimes to when Merrill first went down, it was getting you through. Well, these guys aren't giving you those at bats. They're not giving you what you have come to say, or Petco Park at bats, and so that's concerning. On the other hand, they are getting experience. People grow, people get better, people learn from bad games, bad at bats, whatever. So like that's where I say, you know what, this is just part of it. Like I think anybody that. I mean, the players were, I was, you probably it couldn't keep going on like this. And the more guys dropped, 3 members of their core, and you can discount Jake Cronenworth if you want. But he obviously started out really well. The guy finds a way to get on base. He's crucial. It's the dominoes that happen. And, they were going to have a period like this. That said, man, it's funny because then I want to get deep into the scoreless innings stretch and, the starting pitching and get kind of doom and gloom. But I got to remind myself, every team goes through this. What's the Dodgers record right now with all their injuries, right? What's the Phillies record with all their injuries? This is just a part of it.
It's a part of it. And I don't think on this show there's any overarching concern season's over, because like you said, they do go through these stretches for sure. But I think when you look at this stretch that could be viewed as an overarching concern, that's Xander Bogaerts. This was an opportunity, one of many that he's had. Guys are going down. All right. They need someone to step up. We look at Xander because of the money. We've talked about it before. It's whether it be fair or unfair, it is what it is. Yeah. He's hitting cleanup in the lineup, Kevin. The problems right now with this team are what they are, but Xander feels like it's close to the top of that list.
I think you're right. I mean, I think it started out that way, not like I'm concerned, but hey, here's one of the things we're watching this year. What is Xander Bogaerts? You can make excuses. You can talk about the positives from the first 2 years, but that's not what you were paying for. But okay, we can look and say, made the playoffs one of those years. He has had some big moments. Okay, what is this year about? I think that's the way the Padres were looking at it. And so far, whatever we are, 28 games now. And like you said, and I think that's a real key thing, this is the time that a guy like Xander Bogaerts you should be like, oh, cool, we got Xander. I mean, I was talking to people about why would it? There was a game in Houston where Xander was on deck the day that he was off, and it was the pinch hit for Tyler Wade. And just out of curiosity, because gosh, we're all trying to learn and trying to manage along. Why wouldn't you have pulled Xander Bogaerts back in after Jose Iglesias doubled and had Tyler Wade try to bunt? And was it because lefty on lefty with Hader that was going to be a tough, blah blah? But the point is, the answer was, well, Xander Bogaerts, man, we've got one of the best hitters in the game up. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to think that was true, but is that really? Xander Bogaerts is one of the best hitters in the game right now? Because he's not. I mean, throw in the money and it's a liability. And that's just a fact. I mean, I'm one of the people, part of the chorus, making excuses or explaining things about Xander, but this is terribly worrisome.
Terribly worrisome, and really more from an organizational perspective moving forward, because the length of the deal and the terms of the deal. I mean, they're gonna have serious questions. You've talked to us about this, that they're gonna have questions that they're gonna need to answer probably as soon as this offseason if Xander plays like this year, right? Because you can't it's one thing to have a bad contract. It's another thing to have a player, because of a bad contract, wear you down and pull you down.
Well, and that's kind of Xander's such a great guy, right? But the fact is, 8 more years, at 25, when this is you needed to at least get, and he said it before the season, to his credit, this is the time for him to perform, because he's going to be with you until he's 40, and that's probably not going to be pretty, no matter what. And so, this is, and it is like, can you get through 2025 and be a playoff team with this Xander Bogaerts? Yes, you can, as long as, don't have a bunch of other injuries. And as long as these guys are coming back and they perform like they were performing. But yes, when I start to get into this almost hyperbolic state when I talk about it and say that it's, it's gravely concerning, it's because of the remaining money that's on there. Yes.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, Xander, we're not asking you to carry us for a season. It's just like, can you give us a week here when the guys are down to step up and you're in the cleanup spot and whatnot? And he hasn't done it. You're right about that. So
16 games without an RBI.
Yeah.
In the RBI positions. Like, if you want to look at it this way, and I'm not trying to throw fuel on the fire, I'm sorry. I am, because this is one of the great gentlemen in the game. He also has accomplished a lot in the game. Let's not forget that, right? Mm-hmm. Like that's what the Padres are holding on to. But and I get inflation and all, but this is more, what's left for Xander is more than the original Eric Hosmer contract.
Yeah.
This is huge money, man.
Is there an alarm for this team that's going off right now? Like, we all kind of expected years 7 through 11 with Xander, we're not going to be good.
Right.
But did anybody how shocked and surprised are we might be at that point right now?
Well, I'm not getting that from anybody other than what I have said, which is I do know that they were looking at this as a really key year. I have not got from anybody any sort of explanations or any sort of current thinking, because they're not going to do that, because they're talking about it, but they're not going to at all put that out there that they're concerned about Xander. That's just not, they're going to still, like they were trying to tell me, this is one of the great hitters in the game. Why would we not have him pinch hit in that moment? They're still going to be playing Xander up. And look, again, I have such great respect for what these guys do, and look at the numbers in Boston. And it's okay. Okay. And I'm the last guy to speak like I've been speaking about Xander right now. I'm just trying to be real about it. I'm the guy who says, let's let things play out. I don't have to be. I'm very fortunate. I don't have to be on the radio every day, right? I just don't. I have to write every day, but I don't have to, I can fill it with a little bit of context, right? And I'm really trying to be patient about this. But as you can tell by the things I've already said, I do think that there is some alarm, but the Padres are not going to be on the record or otherwise right now going, pulling their hair out.
We've seen this so much with Manny before. We've seen stretches where, he can be 11 for 53, which is what he is here recently. We've seen other stretches where he can carry this team. We've seen slow starts. He's off to a decent start overall that's been way down here by the last 10 or so games. What do you make of where Manny is right now? Again, a good start, I think, overall, but he's really cooled off here when they've also needed him in the absences of Merrill and Arraez.
It's a little bit of a rarity in that when they've needed him in the past, he generally has gone on a tear. And the thing about Manny is it could start happening tomorrow, right? And over the next week, 2, 3, his are generally 30 games long. He could have a 900 OPS, and they were, he was hitting the ball all over the park and hitting it out of the park. I don't know, and this is absolute speculation based on me watching him. I've not talked to anyone about this. I was sick. I missed 2 games over the weekend, or on Friday, Saturday. But watching, including yesterday twice, I'm not saying he's hurt, but I just think that he's got some nagging things right now. That's just me watching it. I don't know that. I'm not seeing him get extra treatment. I'm not. So I don't know, but I'm just saying man, I think that it was a really, exciting start. It was everybody was really up, and I just think everyone's kind of feeling it right now. And Manny might be one of those guys, but because I don't know what else to say other than the only thing shocking about it is that he's usually the guy who steps up in these moments. He actually looks exactly like he often looks, which is once Manny goes chasing, Manny chases for a couple of weeks or 10 games or 15 games or whatever.
Yeah, and right now it's not been good for Manny, so it's kind of a little magnified.
Boom.
Yeah, Exactly. Kevin, do you think that this team, for whatever it is, do you think they rely on Jackson Merrill too much?
Well, I don't know that they do that, but like
the narrative of it.
It became, if you're like, when you say that, what I go to is like, he was carrying them the last part of last year, and he was carrying them, or one of the guys carrying them. Obviously, Tatis has been, we'll hold Tatis above everybody this year. Like, I traced this back to Jackson Merrill going down. Even though they kept winning after that, it was the beginning of the attrition. And Jackson Merrill, his big hits, his big moments, a stolen base, a first to third, whatever it was. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, but Jackson Merrill was the glue.
I mean, you said earlier, Jim, right, that he's kind of maybe the Profar role of last year in terms of what he meant to a team. I mean, you don't truly know what it means until you don't have that player. I mean, we're talking about a guy that put together a terrific rookie season and put together a terrific 10 games. So clearly they've missed him. When's he going to be back, Evan? What's the expectation here? Could it be Friday, or are we waiting longer than that?
I think it's Friday. I mean, the fact that he was doing a lot of stuff yesterday, not full speed, but not the kind of stuff that you're doing if there's a concern that you're going to, it's going to grab at something. There's going to be a regression. And then, so I haven't talked to anybody today, but they said he headed off to Arizona. So, okay. I think that's a huge step. So I would think Friday. I think all along it was kind of like, it could be San Francisco, but probably the 2nd of May in Pittsburgh. So that's still what I would think.
What does Mike Schilt need to do to be better, Kevin?
That's not managing 101, but it's like managing 200, right?
Oh
like
yeah. Deflect.
You look at me. I'm the guy.
Yeah.
And that's all I did. It's good for you, Mike. And I'm not even saying it's not true that like there's things he's trying to find, right? Mm-hmm. But like, yeah, come on. Okay. Yeah, no, your guys you don't have the guys. He's run out of things he can say about, the night before, Mike gave a rare concession that as close as he'll ever come, and it wasn't a criticism, but as close as he'll ever come to a criticism, said that the players were pressing. Well, they were pressing the last day in Detroit too. But, and then so on Sunday, he said, if you want to blame someone, like you got to look at me, right? And if you read the quote, or if you heard the quote, he kind of tripped over his words a little bit, almost. And here I'm being like psychologist here, but almost like he didn't know exactly what to say, because what he was saying was, come on. Yeah. Okay, Mike. Yeah. It's your fault.
Yeah, exactly. He might be a better manager when his team is fully healthy. That'll be interesting to see if that plays
Joe
out.
Torre was, and there's this guy who's going to go to the Hall of Fame up there in Los Angeles.
His team's played a role in that. Yeah.
Who had Dave Roberts gotten the Padres job in 2016 might not be a manager right now.
Probably not.
Yeah, that's an amazing point.
So, like, yes, Mike Schilt, much better manager when Jackson Merrill and Luis Arraez, Dave Cronenworth, and hey, we'll even go down because it's all attrition, man. You can think of some moments where Jason Hayward, who had some plate discipline, might have helped you. Like, it's all. I don't mean to discount these other guys, Brandon Lockridge, like a manager. Yeah, great point.
Yeah, it's amazing. Torrey just got better after the Mets, Braves, and Cardinals stints when he got to New York with the Yankees.
And again, I look, all these guys are smarter than me, but like, and I use it as a positive too. Bill Belichick was okay as a coach in Cleveland, got fired, right? Like, but he was pretty darn good when he got that quarterback. I forget his name, but
yeah, exactly.
I think that guy helped him.
Yeah, Tom Brady, I think it was.
Right.
Real quick, Kevin, before we go.
I give Schilt as much credit as anyone. And so then that means that I'll go ahead and say, hey, cool. If you want to say this, I'm going to put it on the record. And also, like, I will ask questions. And I ask a lot of questions to Mike alone about, like, what his decisions were. But, like, come on. Who's managing through this right now?
Real quick, Arraez back tomorrow?
Sure seems like it. There didn't seem to be anything. They're obviously very careful of the concussion, and they don't they talk about that even less than other injuries. But yes, it appears Luis Arraez back tomorrow. Looks like even Jason Hayward back tomorrow.
The whole band's getting back together. We'll see if it matters. Kevin, appreciate it. We'll do it again Wednesday.
All right, guys. See you.
All right, Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, will react coming up next. Jon and Jim. Any primary takeaway from what Kevin told us over those 15 or 20 minutes with us?
I think the level of concern for Xander is just going to continue to go up and up and up. And look, you do feel bad for him because, what's he supposed to do with that contract in front of him? Not sign it? Like anybody signs that contract.
Of course.
He is a great person to hear from. He is great with the media. He's accountable. He's not like an awful person. He's just playing awful baseball right now. And it's magnified because of the money he's making and the fact that he's in the middle of that lineup. And he kind of has become primary target number one for Padres fans. And when this team loses, it's a lot of times, Xander's the first person that everyone goes to. And it's very concerning, like for the overarching long, look of this club, that Xander's in year 3 of an 11-year deal, not year 7. If it was year 7, I think the discussions of like, okay, this is done, we got to figure out how to offload this contract, they would get louder and louder. But I don't think they can do that right now in year 3. Like they're just going to have to wear it, and hopefully this guy does something. And then when injuries happen and he's put in a position where he's got to produce to a greater extent than what he's already, asked to do right now, and he's just not coming through. And then it's magnified when everyone else in the lineup sucks. And then when Manny's not doing anything, it's magnified even more because it's like, can you just give us a week, Xander, where you're good? Like one time, Manny's had an awful week and he's had a really bad stretch here. But yes, he's going to have those stretches. And overall, we've said he's going to put up his numbers. And it would have been nice if he, performed while these guys were out, but he didn't. So you look at the next guy up, and that's Xander. And then he didn't perform. And then it's like, well, am I going to really get that mad at Tirso Ornelas and Oscar Gonzalez for not performing if Xander's not performing?
No. Yeah. I mean, I think that's well said. I mean, the Xander situation is just a bad one all around, including for Xander Bogaerts. It is a bad one all around. Truthfully, man, it's not the money to me. It's the lack of productivity. He could be making half of what he makes. It's the lack of the productivity. They still would need him to come through. They still would need him, even if he was on a $140 million contract. I wouldn't discount it. If I'm like, he's got 5 RBIs, but he's only making 12. I mean, we've been critical. Jake Cronenworth, when he hasn't come through. He doesn't make near Xander. I've been critical of a ton of players over the years. And I mean, yes, it's magnified because of salary. Sometimes, though, I think it simplifies things. Like, oh, man, you're 0 for 3. You make $300 million. You got to come through. Yeah, I mean, it's true, but we've also said, what do you do when Manny goes 0 for 3 in games? You're going to need someone else. And that's where the injuries have added up. Because when Manny doesn't play well, you need to get healthier. Because when Manny doesn't play well, I'm not counting on Xander. And Tatis, maybe he can carry him. I've seen it. Maybe he can carry him. Maybe he'll get back to where he was a week ago, where he's going to hit 7 home runs in 17 games or something like that. So that's possible. But again, it's a lot to ask of Tatis to hit 7 home runs every 17 games to carry a team.
He won him a game in Houston on that Sunday when Arraez went out. He was incredible that game. Defensively, offensively, hit that go-ahead home run.
Yep.
He's a huge reason why they won. And They're also not losing games recently like 7-0. If they're losing a bunch of games 7-0, nothing's going to really happen. They lost 1-0 on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
They lost yesterday 4-2. And then on Saturday night,
was it 3-1?
Was it 3-1?
Forget.
Yeah, they lost 4-1. Sorry.
4-1. Yeah.
But still, those games are winnable. You're down 3-1 and going into the 9th inning on Saturday night. Now, Suarez gives up a run there, or whoever gave up a run. I forget.
Sunday was Suarez.
Suarez was Sunday. Yeah. On Saturday was
it Matsui?
No, it was Jason Adam.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, these games are winnable. They're not getting blown out, and that makes it even more frustrating is the fact that like these are winnable games, and if just one player in this lineup had a hot night,
any of them,
you're probably more often than not winning those games because your bullpen's still pitching amazing. Your starting pitching, we'll have a Dylan Cease discussion maybe later if he continues to pitch like this. But overall, like you're in these games, they have opportunities to win, and your big bats in your middle of your lineup aren't stepping up. And sure as hell, your other players in the lineup, the others aren't stepping up either.
No doubt about it. We'll see if Luis Arraez does come back on Tuesday, and if Jackson Merrill comes back on Friday to start that road trip in Pittsburgh. We'll get to the wrap on the other side. We'll hear from Colin Cowherd, his thoughts on Shador's slide, the role that Dion, his father, played in that. Plus, if you missed Kevin Acee, you'll hear that in the 5 o'clock hour. Jon and Jim.